Hello, and welcome to Prompt 6 in the Stitch the Season 2022 online workshop. All previous videos will be linked below, from showing you how to create the fabric book structure that we're going to fill with the prompts to each of the previous prompts. Now today we're on Prompt 6. This is a really fun one, and we're going to use a Christmas character. Now really give that some thought. A Christmas character can be anything from a Christmas novel to just a typical Christmas illustration that you might see. A little person or an elf or a snowman, a penguin, anything along those lines. Something that when you see, it rings Christmas to you. I'm going to show you the sample book that I made, where I made a little gnome, because those are very popular right now. But I'm also going to show you the one that I do in class today. And I made a deer. Kind of like a reindeer, just a little take on it. I just always think of deer when I think of Christmas. We used to live in the woods, and so we'd see lots of deer in wintertime with the snow, and it was just very peaceful and a lovely image. And I'll always remember that and treasure it. So I wanted to illustrate that in my book today. So let me show you how I do that. So here on my sample journal, I have a gnome here as my character, my prompt number 6. And I really like it because the beard is, just a fabric scrap, and I have a wooden bead for the nose and a little padding for the hat. But it's simple, and yet it takes up the page and adds personality as well because of the shape of the hat and the length of the beard. It's a little whimsical, and I like that. But for today's character, I want to do something a little different. Once again, I'm going to start with my book, and I'll find a page where I want to put that character, and I think I'll do it right here. So it will be the second page, just across the prompt for the drink. And so now I'll gather my materials. Now for this character, I'm going to create a little deer, like a reindeer, and I'm going to put it on this page. So I have my background fabric here, and right now I'm going to stitch everything to that background fabric, and then I'll attach that background fabric to the page. So I cut that fabric to size, and I can set aside my book for now. And then I gathered some colors of fabric and some supplies to make that reindeer. I want the majority of that reindeer, the head and the antlers, to cover the page, and there'll just be a little portion of the body exposed, just enough to indicate that it's a deer. So to do that, I have my fabric colors. I chose this dark brown for the antlers. I have this kind of a dark beige, and I really liked it because it has these little cream colored kind of spots. So I thought that would be cute for the head of the reindeer, and this cream color for the face. I have some buttons here I'm thinking of using as eyes, although I might stitch little French knots or something, but I'm leaning towards the buttons. I have some little jingle bells. They're so precious and tiny, and I kind of like this because that way when my book is being held and used, there'll be a little bit of a ringing to it. And I kind of like that idea. And then I just have some ribbon here to make a collar. And I'll figure out what I want to say on the page, what wording. So the first thing I'll do is I'm going to take this beige, since this is my actual face color, and create the size that I want for this deer. So I'll just roughly sketch it, and I really only have to sketch half, but I'm just trying to get a feel for the size. I kind of like that size, so I'm going to cut that out first. Fold it roughly in half. So I have my face, and now I need to make my head and the body. So I'll pull this down a little bit just to give me a little bit to work with here. And I want the head to cover this face. And I also want to have some ears. So I can either attach the ears later or cut them out now. I think I'm just going to cut out the head. Once again, the same size as I did for this cream colored for the face here. And then I want a little bit of a body. So I'll cut this out as well. So So I've cut out that head, but I didn't like the way that body wound up looking. So I want to create more of a body here. So I'll take my fabric and just sketch it out. I think I like the way this part is looking. This shape. Bring it down a little like that. So I have my body, my head and my face. And now I just want to cut that face down so that I have a little bit a heart shape for the face. So again, I'll just kind of eyeball the center of the face. Fold it in half and make my shape. So my deer is coming to life. I need to make antlers and little ears. So I'll take this just little scrap of fabric to make the ears and maybe a little tail. And I'll do the same thing with this brown to make little antlers and show you how it looks. So now I have my little antlers here. I'll just put them in place and pin all of this down, and I can decide how far I want those antlers to stick up from the head. So I have all my pieces in place. I'm going to pin everything down, and I'm going to wait to decide on the collar to see which color I want to use for the collar. And the same thing with the eyes and the face, and I can decide what I want to do with this Christmas thing. So I'll pin everything down, and then I'm going to take my thread and I'm just going to stitch around the entire perimeter of all these shapes that we have here. The antlers, the face, the ears, the tail, and the body. So here I've stitched everything down all the way around, and you can see the two pieces here of the fabric. So that's what I want to cover up when I make the collar. I think I'm going to use this black as the collar. I like the contrast more so than this cream because it coordinates too nicely with the face. So I'm just going to take a little piece of this, trim it off, and just put it right over that area. If I need to cut it down again, I will. So I'll just cut it a little bit more over here. And I have the collar, which I can stitch the teeny little balls on. So I'm going to stitch down that little collar. I'm also going to stitch in the eyes. Now I want the eyes a little bit wide set because I want to stitch in a little nose here. So I can decide exactly where I want them and stitch those on as well. So I'll do those two things, and then we'll come back and we'll attach it to our page, adding our final little elements, our nose and our little jingle bells and our words. So as you can see, it's all starting to come together and resemble a deer. So now I'm ready to take it to the page here and attach it. So I'll center it how I want it and then just pin it in place. So now I have a few options here. I purposely made the fabric from the deer's body longer. It's not so long that I could really tuck it, so I can just cut it down to size or just let it overhang. Right now I'm going to stitch all the way around this to hold it to the page, and then we'll come back and make the nose, add the bells, and our text. My fabric swatch is stitched down, and now I can start adding the embellishments. So I want to make a nose and maybe a little mouth here. So I'll just kind of trace the shape of the nose that I want to make, and I'm going to fill that in with satin stitches. And then I think I'm just going to make a little bit of a mouth here. Just the letter J and then the reverse. I originally thought I'd add this Merry Christmas in here, but I think I'm going to hold off and just stitch some letters here, and I think I'll just write Oh Dear. So I'll just sketch that out. And I'll take my red thread and start with the jingle bells here. Now it has a very small little opening here on the bell, so I have to make sure that my needle will fit through there, and it does. So I'll start right in the center and add my bell. I'll make a stitch first. And then I'll come up and thread that bell through. And then I'll do the same with the remaining bells. I want to use a satin stitch here to stitch the nose, and then just maybe a back stitch to make the shape of the mouth. And then I'm going to stitch oh dear as well, and I'll show you the results there. So there I attached the bells, I made a little satin stitch for the nose and a little stem stitch for the mouth, and then I stitched oh dear over here. I'm really pleased with the way this came out. He's really cute. So this is my version of the character prompt, and it can be any character from Christmastime, whether it's from a novel or a TV show or a movie, or just some character that you have in your life that really comes to life at Christmas. So that's how I created prompt 6, the Christmas character. The possibilities are really endless. You can do anything from an angel to maybe a favorite TV movie, or even an action hero that strikes you as Christmassy. It's really up to you and what you want to create. Now I have a Facebook group that you can join. It's a private group just to post our work and answer questions or post any finds that we have along these lines for Stitch the Season 2022. So if you'd like to do that, just look for the Stitch the Season 2022 Facebook group. If you'd like to snap a photo of your work and post it on Instagram, be sure to tag me or use the hashtag StitchTheSeason2022 and I'll take a look at it. I hope you've enjoyed these videos. If you did, please give them a thumbs up, and I'll see you in 2 more days for the next prompt.